Hi, guys. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays with Dr. Gaynor. I am going to wait for a few people to get in and then I will get started. I hope you have had a wonderful week. I am here in Georgia and it is raining every day. So I hope your weather has been better, but happy summer and I hope you guys have some wonderful things coming up. I am Dr. Brianna Gaynor. I am a clinical psychologist and I am a speaker, a motivational speaker who loves to talk about demystifying the stigma of mental health. And our goal in this Wednesday Wellness is to talk about everyday topics that maybe we don't even think of as considered an area of mental health. And how do we get better at these daily things that we deal with in life? And so I'm so happy that you've joined me. Today, we are talking about the apology addiction when sorry becomes your default. And I know that this is something near and dear to my heart because I have absolutely been a recovering people pleaser and find myself saying sorry for a lot of things that aren't even necessary. So I'm hoping that this topic is something that resonates with you and hopefully something that is helpful. And maybe it's something that'll be helpful for someone you know and love, and you can share it as well. Again, my name is Dr. Brianna Gaynor, and today is Wellness Wednesday, and we are talking about the apology addiction when sorry becomes your default. So let's jump right into it. So, sorry. We've all learned how to say sorry and to apologize. And being able to apologize and see our wrongs is a beautiful thing. That is not what we're discussing at all. What we are discussing is over apologizing. We can sometimes get into an addiction of apology where that word becomes so much of a default that it starts to not only impact our relationship with others, but how we see ourselves. And so a lot of times the difficulties that we have kind of starts internally. We may tend to think of it as external, but what starts to be internal comes out. And so when we are over apologizing, when we're always saying sorry, it's impacting how we see ourselves, how others see us, and also how we function in the world. And so there are three core pain points when we're talking about over apologizing. And the first one is the shame spiral. So just constant apologizing trains your brain to believe that you're inherently wrong. It can deepen anxiety. It can impact your self-esteem. And you start to see yourself as less than. A lot of times it can tell you that you're not worth it. You don't deserve to be here. A lot of times it can be also related to the imposter syndrome, where we're just waiting for someone to actually find out who we are and how much we don't deserve to be in these rooms or to get the opportunities that we're having. And so what that looks like is a few different things. As I said, I'm a clinical psychologist and I talk to people all the time who are having struggles. One of the things I notice the most, for instance, is related to emotions and grief. I will talk to clients who have lost parents, who have lost close loved ones, who've had some significant traumas. And these are questions I have to ask because they are important to the overall process. And when the tears start, there is inevitably a sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to get emotional. Why are we apologizing for our emotions? I think some of that is what we've been taught. You're supposed to be strong, and being strong is being stone-faced. Being strong is not showing your emotions, but there's truly nothing wrong with showing your emotions. In the example of grief, great tears, great emotionality is reflective of great love. And so what a beautiful testament to that person that you feel so deeply, but we feel so ashamed that we're apologizing for something that is a natural process and a natural emotion and an absolutely natural reaction. And so one of the things I tell my clients is no, don't apologize for your emotions. But what's interesting about that is I find myself doing the same thing. And I have to stop and remind myself that it's okay for me to feel what I'm feeling. I grew up, I am an emotional person. And I grew up being told or being shown that maybe my emotions were too much. Maybe I shouldn't be crying. I need to pick my feelings up off the floor. Those were specific words I remember. And I still have to remind myself that there's nothing wrong with showing my emotions. And also being grateful for the emotions that I have, because it helps me to do my job so well. And so those things that make us special, those things that make us who we are, there's nothing wrong with being who you are, with showing your emotion, with showing what your strengths and weaknesses are, with showing your idiosyncrasies and not apologizing for them. Who you are is enough. It's special. You were created that way. So embrace it. And so the second core pain point related to over apologizing is the inevitable self eraser. So over apologizing minimizes your presence. It makes other people dismiss your ideas and your needs, especially in work relationships and in personal relationships. And so we think that saying sorry is good, but the research has shown that the more you say sorry, the less people can tend to actually respect you. And so what does that look like when you are in a job situation, for instance, and maybe you're asking for help or you have a question, and instead of asking the question straight out, it's, oh, sorry, do you have time? Oh, I'm sorry, is it okay? Oh, you're busy, I'm sorry. And so it shows a sense of uncertainty, of lack of self-confidence, of not being secure in who you are. And what does that look like in a relationship? When, for instance, and this is just a little example I could think of. I remember being sick and needing to visit a friend, or supposed to have plans with a friend, and saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sick, I can't go. Okay, but I didn't do anything wrong. So why am I apologizing? And that also, just that small example led into a lot of other big examples where when people were unhappy with something, when things weren't right, where there was conflict in my friend group, I would kind of shrink back and not say something. I would say sorry to the person who was upset, even if I wasn't involved, and I wasn't standing up for what I thought was right. I wasn't saying the things I needed to say. The only words that were coming out of my mouth were sorry. So I'm erasing my voice, and I'm not letting people know how I feel. And we show people how to treat us by the way we allow them to treat us and how we treat ourselves. And so what is the lesson that we're showing people when we're not expressing how we feel, when we're over apologizing in situations that don't need it, or just to calm a situation down? There's nothing wrong with being a peacemaker, but sometimes conflict is good. Let me say that again. Sometimes conflict is good. And I don't know that we always recognize that. Recognizing that conflict is not always bad, especially if it gets us to a good place of decision making, of choices, of change. Sometimes things need to be adjusted. And that means we need to break through the noise, stop trying to avoid the conflict, and just be open to where the process takes us. And then the third pain point is missed opportunities. Habitual sorries are signaling insecurity. They can cause lost promotions. They can cause strained connections. They can cause unused boundaries. And so what are the missed opportunities you're having from saying habitual sorries? Again, if we're talking about work, if you're not someone who's stepping up and going against the grain, are you being noticed as well as you could be? Maybe you're someone who could be a supervisor, but maybe you're seen more as part of the team because you go along with everything, and that's great. But can you be a leader who kind of stands up and who's able to deal with conflict? Showing that you're comfortable and okay, maybe not comfortable, but okay with uncomfortable situations and willing to work through struggles is going to be a really big deal in promotion, in jobs, in relationships, in showing up for yourself. What are the boundaries that you need to put in place in the world to show people, to show others, to show yourself what's okay and what's not? A lot of times we can have missed opportunities because we're not saying the things that we need to say. We're not asking the questions that we need to ask. We're not willing to be bold enough to take the chances. So what are the boundaries that you're not putting in place that you need to? Going beyond work. A lot of times in families, for instance, we can be so used to the status quo and not wanting to do anything to mess things up. We don't want to do anything to cause ruckus, that we're actually dishonoring ourselves. What are the ways that you deserve to be treated? What are the things that are not okay? What are the things you need to say? Maybe it's not sorry, but it's a conversation I need to have. Maybe it's, I don't like the way that this made me feel. Maybe it's what's happening right now and the way you're treating me is not okay. And maybe part of the way that people will hear that conversation is not by starting it with a sorry, but I have to talk to you, but I just need to talk to you. Let's have this conversation. So how do we get out of this over apologizing habit? Well, first, let's evaluate the sorry. So again, as I started off saying, apologizing is not a bad thing, but everything has its time and place. So think about it. Is this a situation where I'm wrong? Is this something that I can change? And is it something that I want to change? A true apology should come from a place of genuineness, where you're ready to apologize, not just because you should, but because you want to. Really analyzing that is important, not just to get it out of the way, to people please, to not have to deal with the conflict, but what is this? What's really going on? And how do I address whatever this is? And is this even a situation where sorry needs to happen, or is it a should? I was told a while ago, and I keep trying to remind myself of it, is that should is not truth. There are all these expectations that people have of us, that we have of ourselves, the way things are supposed to go, whoever made these rules. And that's not necessarily true. If that should doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for you. And you have the right to change what that looks like. At whatever age, at whatever stage, in whatever relationship, you have the right to say, this is not okay right now. And then, wow, how about we change the sorry to a thank you? So I'm in the grocery store and I'm passing someone and I'm like, oh, excuse me, sorry. Or what about, oh, excuse me, thank you. I have to have a conversation with my boss. And, instead of saying, oh, sorry, do you have a minute? Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. We have to cancel plans. Instead of, sorry, I have to cancel plans, I can't do it tonight. Thank you for understanding. I need to change our plans. This may sound little, but those ways that we start to train our mouths and our brain to do differently, it will make a big difference in the bigger situations where we really need to pause and identify whether or not sorry is what we need to be saying in this moment. And then the other thing is take a breath. Stop, pause, and consider what you want to say. It can be so easy to just say what we say, to say the things that we're used to saying. How are you doing? I'm fine. How's it going? It's good. Is it really? I like to stop people and say, but how are you really doing? And so if sorry is that automatic for you, and you recognize that it's impacting your self-concept and it's impacting what people expect from you, and it's impacting your opportunities or how you're showing up in the world, then is it possible that you can pause and consider what you want to say before you say it? So if you start yourself feel to say sorry, can you pause and say, can you give me a minute to think about it? Can I get back to you? A lot of times, a lot of us don't have quick comebacks. I know for me, it takes me a while to process things. While one of my best friends is like this, Rain is like this, and mine is like this. It takes me a while to process what I really want to say, potentially, well, especially in really big situations, difficult situations where I want to make sure to express myself clearly. I need to consider what I want to say so that I make sure it comes across in the way I intended, which means taking time to take a breath, to pause, to consider what I want to say and not just my default is really going to serve me well. So consider whether or not the sorry is even really something you need to say, want to say, should say. Should, probably not. It's probably more of something you feel like you're supposed to do versus what you want to do. Want to? Yes. Need to? Figure out whether that's coming from a should or a want. But when you are apologizing, you want it to be genuine. Okay? And then we also want to consider taking a moment to breathe and think through what we want to say. And maybe also consider replacing your sorry with a thank you. Let's try to get out of self-deprecation and let's start to love ourselves by standing up for ourselves, by having boundaries, and no longer having the need to over apologize for things that are unnecessary. You exist for a reason. You deserve to take up space. You deserve to be where you are. You deserve to have the things you do. And the way that that starts is by what you are telling yourself, because your words have power and they affect everything. So be careful with what you say, first to yourself and then to others. This has been Wednesday Wellness with Dr. Gaynor. I'll see you next time. A few notes before I go. I do have my first book. It's called Nina's Smile on Amazon and other platforms where you can buy books. And join us every Wednesday, 4:30 Eastern for Wellness Wednesdays or Wednesday Wellness. If you have any specific topics that you'd like us to talk about, please send us a direct message or just send us a message, period, and let us know. You can follow me on Dr. Gaynor Speaks on Facebook and on Instagram. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you for listening. Bye.